Well, good morning, people. Just out here on a beautiful morning, mid-morning, getting ready to do another turd walk. Go up in here to one of my better calling areas and just have a look around and try to see what's going on. And we got some mountain bikers out here today. Must have passed 35 cars down the road here, so might have to keep our ears out for them. We got about a mile to the top of the ridge up here. We're in low foothills today. Generally, in the early part of season, when I'm going after coyotes, bobcats aren't in yet. I normally, my hunting starts in the low foothills, kind of at the dispersal routes near railroads and roads, and near the rivers and stuff. Get on some of those young dogs. So yeah, I think we're about ready to go. Thank God I didn't leave the car yet. I do it all the time. I forget, and then I regret it when I get up on the mountain. I throw some bug spray on. This stuff here works really good. It's made by Repel, and usually throw that on and put a little shot on the ears, back of the head. Keep it out of your eyes, I can tell you that. But yeah, I think we're ready to roll. Let's hit it. Yeah, low foothills. It's a great spot. Generally, the low foothills are like coyote preferred territory, where you have like clear cuts and burns that are somewhat thick. Bobcats tend to crave the higher country. You know, these wild canines and wild felines are not so different than your pets at home. And dogs have to have shade when it's hot. Need to be close to water. Felines really like refuge. They like getting elevated, like getting high. That's why you see all these people with those little poles in their house that have different platforms. And where do the cats go? Top of your couch, top of those platforms. Cats love height. They like to be above things. And so often cats will bed mid-level to high on your mountains. The coyotes prefer mid-level to high also, but they tend towards mid-level, where the water initially starts. Cats will go on up the mountain a ways. They like that security cover. So, something to keep in mind when you're out in the mountains going after predators. Now, coyotes will bed high also, but there's a thick clear cut somewhere mid-level. It's got a little seep or a spring in it. Perfect. All right, guys, here we go. We got some cool scats. There's one right here. We got another one right here. So we're gonna pull this up, digging around here, see what we got. Definitely two different animals. That's a much smaller scat than this. This is definitely coyote, I think. It's got a lot of hair in it. Very little bone. It's quite soft, goes to nothing. Just disintegrates quickly. See that? That's your coyote scat. Looks like there may have been an older scat here as well, from way back. This is very important. This is very, very important spot right here. This one, a little harder. Very, very stiff right here. I don't know if you can see that, but that thing's pretty stiff. Pretty crunchy. There's our little concave hole where one of the other pieces fit into it. So there's our bobcat. We got a coyote shitting on it. And right here, we got a bit of a game trail coming down through here. Right up through here. I don't know if you can see that. But something's coming down off of there. Trail is coming right through here. It's probably just enough for that cat to go right down in through here. It's right where that's right where that pine thicket is. Nice. All right, take note. We're on an outside turn here, which is very common for a bobcat to shit on. Now, if you look down here, this trail kind of bends around the mountain, and it kind of hooks over here and down in. So we're kind of on a little point here, and it's very, very common to see bobcats crapping on these outside turns like this. So we know that a cat is working this point right here, which is very common for them to intersect. They love to shit at intersections. Sorry. They love to crap, lay scat. You know, thinking back to that bobcat scat back there, it's pretty small. That's more than likely going to be a female. And females travel in more circular patterns and in S-shaped zigzag patterns. Female bobcats have a core area. They seldom wander outside of it. You know, and bobcats do well here in Virginia. Trust me, they do super well. And you might have a female who will take residence in a, 10 square mile area, 3x3. She really doesn't need a whole lot more space than that. Males throughout the year, they're covering, probably up to 100 square miles, if not more. They are a much more linear loop travelers. Their pathways are more likely to be on trails like what I'm walking on right here, especially trails that run long distances on tops of mountains. And they're just trying to cut as many female tracks as they can. And they know that these females zigzag up and down these ridges in here and leave scat and sign and scent mark the trails where they intersect these bigger trails like this. So when you start seeing in November, December, you start seeing that bobcat scat getting laid down on these little points. You got several points. It's a pretty good chance that female is hugging that long running trail, hoping to get an receptive male to come find her. So in December, you don't want to get too far off these trails when you're doing your calling. But since bobcat females, well, all bobcats love elevation, it would be my advice to hunt the uphill side of a long running single track like this. Get near that scat and start doing sets. And you have a great opportunity at calling in a cat. And if you got rocks in the area or pines, rocks and pines and thick mountain laurel are the preferred bedding type areas. And these bugs are getting bad again. At least I sprayed this time. Yeah, so, think about where you're seeing that bobcat scat. Figure out where the water is. And if one of those turns is a little closer to the water, going out of a ravine, water coming out of a ravine, point closest to that water is where I would spend my time. Get 300 yards off that trail, get up near the top, stay on the water side of the ridge, and do a set. make it a long one. Don't make it too loud and obnoxious. Squirrel distress, rodent distress. Let it play. Just let it play quietly. And if you got a decoy attached to your call, run that decoy. The reason I'm whispering is just trying to hear stuff out in front of me. I got this big ass bear in here. I'd like to be able to hear it before I stumble upon it. Now we got the ultra runners out here today. Mountain bikers and ultra runners. Fun. Trials and tribulations of hunting the national forest in Virginia. Part of it, man. Doesn't mean the game's not here. It is. It's just down off the sides. So I get this question a lot. How far off of these trails do I need to get in order to safely call and not be molested by mountain bikers? And my best answer to that is, best thing to do is look for a place where the trail makes a turn on the ridge, and that's usually where coyotes will dump off on a turn in the road or trail, and a ridge or a mountain keeps going. That's where the coyotes go. They hit that turn and off to the side. Or maybe you got a big ridge that runs down, doesn't have any trails on it, got a watershed nearby, real close, good water at the head. That's going to be a good spot for coyotes. The more I hunt coyotes in the mountains, the more I realize they're not far off of these trails. Look at this trail I'm on. It's just beat down with mountain bikes and hikers. They don't have to get far off of this trail to feel safe. 300-400 yards down over the side, near water. Perfect. But they don't like to be terrible far away from these trails, because these trails allow them to travel quickly, quietly, without much discomfort, and it allows them to quickly get to where they're actually headed, which is down to the CRP fields or the next clear cut over. They're going to bump clear cuts all night long looking for rabbits, looking for mice and voles. So, for example, I don't know how easy or hard this is going to be for you to see, but right behind me is a saddle. It dips and goes up, and there's a notch going down that way, and there's a very loose notch going this way. Probably not too far from water down in here. These saddle points are great crossing points for all kinds of game. Critters like to cross at these points. So it's not out of the question. Right off the shoulder of one side or the other of one of these notches. And if it's hot, I'd probably pick the west or the north side. Coyotes can go just a few hundred yards down and get on a thick shoulder, and they're bedded within earshot of this path all day. But from a calling strategy, you don't want to get on this path and just set up 10 yards down off the trail. You want to get out, figure out which shoulder you think maybe the coyotes are bedded on, where there might be some shade, might be some water. Get on the adjacent point. Stay out of their wind. Get on an adjacent point and try to call them over to you. And this is where having a hunting app is helpful, because you can mark, the water, and have your calling strategy and your location already pinpointed based on where you're seeing scat out here. So, yeah. With these little low dips, I don't know if you can see it, but the trail kind of dips down in here and then goes back up. This would be a major crossing point right here. So this shoulder, that shoulder, one over there, the one back here, those are good possible locations where coyotes would want to bed up 300-400 yards off the trail. So good stuff. All right, guys, we're kind of closing the loop here. We're did a big circle right here. A little seat comes out of straight up the mountain here. And we saw those bobcat and coyote scats right above that pine thicket. That's where this water is coming from. We're headed over to the next mountain. Go out here to the car, get some more fluids, and we're gonna get on a little bit more of a main road-ish, going up through the bottom. Then it gets on top. We're gonna walk out a big top up here where I've seen and heard coyotes before, so I'm just gonna go up there and take a little look around, see if we can find some scat. See how they were using the area in the last 9 months to a year, and see if it merits coming in here this fall. All right, we're back here at the car, the vehicle. So we're eating a can of sardines, getting a little bite to eat. Loading up on omega-3s. This is lunch, by the way. See if I can cut my lip open with my fillet knife. Somebody over here coming up the road in a trailer or something. Yeah, so we hiked 2.75 miles this morning. Kind of a mid-morning hike. Before it gets too terrible hot, we're gonna head over to this other mountain. See if we have enough time to get up on top. And go out this top, see what's going on. So stay with us. We get a little bite here, head out.